Ravens Rundown coming up in just a moment. We'll take an inside look into our NFL Daily Show as we answered all of your news and rumors mailbag questions, specifically on NFL free agency, as the folks had some questions about who the Ravens could potentially sign, the likes of Jamal Adams, a potential return for Dalvin Cook. We'll show you what they had to say in my reaction in just a matter of moments. Before we do, want to make sure you subscribe to a Ravens Rundown as we're bringing you daily Baltimore Ravens coverage like no one else is. We also have the latest when it comes to news and rumors. Anytime the Ravens make a move, a signing, or trade, we'll bring you a video as quick as we can. Subscribe now. Help us reach our next milestone, 16.5K, less than 100 away from reaching that next mark. YouTube.com/RavensTV. Subscribe now for free, and we'll get started with today's show. Tony G writes in, what's going on with Dalvin Cook? Any chance he ends up back with the Ravens? So I think the Ravens have kind of closed that door on a potential return for Dalvin Cook. One of the shortest tenures we've ever seen for a player in the National Football League, as he was signed just prior to the regular season ending, and then played in 2 playoff games, but he didn't really see the field much in those 2 playoff games for Baltimore. And then the Ravens bring in Derrick Henry. They draft Ali from Marshall. Keaton Mitchell's coming back. I just don't think they're bringing back Dalvin Cook to Baltimore. With that said, there is a spot somewhere for Dalvin Cook. I want to rule out a potential return back to Minnesota. I think that could be a possibility. The Dallas Cowboys need help at the running back position. That seems to be a potential fit. Dalvin Cook will play somewhere. But what we saw, granted it was a small sample size in 2023, Dalvin Cook, pun intended, looks cooked. So I don't think I would expect much out of Dalvin Cook wherever his next destination is. Our pinned comment today, where will Dalvin Cook sign in NFL free agency? Give me a team that comes to mind that you think Dalvin Cook is going to end up with. Name them. Let us know in our pinned comment today where you think he goes. Tyler the Creator writes in, where do you see Jamal Adams ending up? So the Seattle Seahawks released Jamal Adams at the very beginning of the offseason as they were trying to save a lot of money. And he was such a liability last year, didn't make sense for them to bring him back. There's been talk about Seattle potentially bringing Jamal Adams back, but as a safety for much less money than he would have made had they stayed on the current contract that he was on, right? And so I think that's a possibility of a return to Seattle. I know that Baltimore is looking for a third safety option because they like to run 3 safeties, and Jamal Adams could be a floater, if you will. Maybe he could play some off-ball linebacker potentially to back up Trenton Simpson and Roquan Smith. That could be a possibility. The San Francisco 49ers also were brought up as having conversations with Jamal Adams as well, although that could just be a ploy to kind of drive up the price to force a rival like the Seahawks to overpay for Jamal Adams. I don't know what Jamal Adams is going to do, where he's going to go. Those are the teams that I kind of think of off the top of my head. But I would expect a safety linebacker hybrid role of sorts coming off the bench, not a starter, for his next team because he's had problems staying healthy. That's been a big issue for Jamal Adams. He's been a liability in coverage. And then I got question marks as far as the person Jamal Adams is, because there was reports that he quit on that Seahawks team prior to that Monday night game against the Philadelphia Eagles, where he was just nowhere to be found. He wasn't even in the building to support his own team. He had that little scuffle where he was arguing with a reporter on social media and called the guy's wife ugly, which was just disgusting, just absurd, juvenile behavior from Jamal Adams there. So we'll see. But I do think he plays in the league as a backup, safety, linebacker, hybrid type role. Seattle, Baltimore, and San Fran would be the teams I'd keep in mind. Where will Jamal Adams play in 2024? Get your predictions in the chat. Let us know right now where you think Jamal Adams is ultimately going to end up when it's all said and done. NFL rookie jerseys are on sale now, and we got every one of your favorite rookies for your favorite team, whether it's a Caleb Williams, maybe it's a Jaden Daniels, all sorts of different jerseys to choose from, and they are available at chatsports.com/NFL jersey. You'll get the number that they will be wearing, not the zeros or the ones that you're seeing on your screen now. Those are just kind of placeholders till they figure out what number they're officially going to wear. But you can get yours today at chatsports.com/NFL jerseys. We got men's and women's options. We got every size you can think of. We got a mix of home and road uniforms as well. And every once in a while, when you go to chatsports.com/NFL jersey, you might stumble upon some free shipping. So be on the lookout for that as well. Go see for yourself, chatsports.com/NFL jersey to get yours today. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Check it out now, chatsports.com/NFL jersey. All right, EV writes in, will Coach Prime go to the NFL next season? So that's fascinating because Coach Prime is walking into a tough situation with the Colorado Buffaloes this year. You just lost Dylan Edwards, your star running back, to K-State, and lost a number of players to the portal. They didn't bring in a great high school recruiting class. They've kind of focused on the portal there with Colorado. You do have Shador coming back. Shiloh's back. You also have Travis Hunter coming back as well. Those guys are going to be playing in the NFL. And I'll say this, with this being the last run, if you will, with Travis and with Shador, then I would think there's a pretty decent chance that Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, is going to leave after this season, whether he takes another coaching job in college football, maybe he just steps down from coaching after a disappointing year, whatever it may be. But I don't think, unless Colorado shocks the world, that he is on the radar for NFL teams as far as taking a head coaching job goes. Because last year was such a disappointment, and expectations aren't pretty good. I don't think NFL teams are going to be lining up to hire Coach Prime right now. If he has a good year, if he surprises people, maybe that changes. But right now, I would be very surprised if he's an NFL head coach in 2025. Two more questions. Pinhead. You guys remember Bill O'Reilly's old segment, Pinheads and Patriots? Shout out Bill O'Reilly. Which current NFL free agent should the Ravens sign? Ooh, I like this question. I'm looking at wide receivers for the Baltimore Ravens, okay? You got a couple options out there. Hunter Renfrow, Michael Thomas. Those are the guys that kind of jump off the page, and they could be instant impact players for the Baltimore Ravens and come at a cheap cost. The more intriguing idea for Baltimore that I like is trading for Courtland Sutton. If they could pull that off, that'd be an upgrade from what they lost in OBJ. So we'll see, Pinhead. I think you're more than likely a Patriot than you are a Pinhead, though. But, yes, I think Baltimore is going to add a receiver before it's all said and done. We'll see who it is, but those are the names to keep an eye on. Last one from John. John writes, should the Giants draft their next quarterback next year or search for one in a trade or free agency after this next season? Remains to be seen. You know, I look at next year's quarterback class. It's not quite as good as this year's class was. It's headlined by Shador Sanders, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, just to name a few. The veterans that are going to be out there, that remains to be seen. Kind of too early to tell who's going to be available in free agency or the trade market. But I do believe this will be the last go-round for Daniel Jones, for Danny Dimes in New York. But I don't know what direction they go. I probably lean towards draft, but I don't say that with a ton of confidence just yet. But I do expect them to have a new quarterback next year. Before we go, name a player your favorite team should sign in NFL free agency. Those players that are left out there, who do you want your team to grab up? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe to the channel. Stay up to date with everything going on in the NFL. I'm Tyler Jones, and I will see you next time.